Saints. Today we're talking about disappointment, recovering from disappointment. Honestly, I don't even like to use the word disappointment because it's negative, and I think that language really shapes, of course, our thoughts, and it creates that loop because before you can speak, you have things in your head. And then you have the negative thought, and you say something negative, and it just keeps a negative loop going on. But this is a necessary discussion that I'm going to engage you guys in because we have so much softness in the world in a bad way. And we have so many haters and wicked persons who put out ideas that are destructive to you and I, good people. Often you hear fools and the wicked say things like, oh, that's an L. That's an L. No, that's not an L. That's just life. In fact, mostly you're not getting exactly what you want. Mostly you're experiencing, setbacks and things like this. It's just that you have to know how to look at these things and know how to properly estimate them and redefine them and understand these things as steps on the path to success. So, for example, and shout out to the folks supporting the work. Shout out to hef.com supporting. For example, I saw on the YouTube home feed, it had posted some passport bro, and it says, Passport bro so and so gets rejected live on stream thinking he has game. Maybe he does have game. Just because you have game, does that mean that you're going to hit every shot? Every woman's going to want you? Just because you're Michael Jordan, does that mean that you're never going to get the ball stolen? You're never going to get your shot blocked? You're never going to miss a game winner? No, that's not what it means. It means you're going to probably hit most of them, or you're going to hit the ones that count, or you're going to be confident enough to take the shot. You're going to be the guy that the team relies on. You're going to be the guy that people admire. Doesn't mean that you're impervious to flaw, error. And here's the thing: he might have spit some good game. Old girl might have had a boyfriend. She might not be interested in black males. There's a variety of things. But the wicked among us would lie and say, "Oh, he got rejected. He doesn't have any game," in an attempt to discourage you and make you more like them. Huh? Make you more like them, which is to say, one who does not attempt for greatness, one who is a sheep and does what everyone else does. You see, they're cowards and they project their fear onto you, and you'd be a fool to accept their weak way of living and thinking. Things you think are an L are not an L. It's only an L if you're a sucker. It's only an L if you believe what weak people say. It's only an L if you listen to fools. I don't listen to fools. I don't listen to fools. I don't let women make decisions for me. I don't listen to people who are unsuccessful. I don't value the perspective of children and homeless men highly. I'll consider it and I'll take that which is good, but I view these perspectives with great suspicion. Huh? With great suspicion. You see, the problem is that you have people who are living life and you have people who are observing life. You dig? They're commentators. They're not in the boxing ring. They're commentating on what is going on in the boxing ring. Well, I'll tell you what, if you ever watch a prize fight, even the guy who loses the prize fight gets more money than the guy commentating on the prize fight. That's the key. Which one would you rather be? I'd rather be a boxer in the ring taking an L than a commentator talking and describing it, talking about what he would have done. You see, we talk about, oh, that's an L. Nah, mostly it's not an L. It's called life. It's not an L. That's just life. Things don't always go right in life. You don't always get what you want in life, but you're a real boss. You know how to keep it player. You know how to enjoy the highlights, the lowlights, the good people, the lowlifes, the bad chicks, the dimwits. You can enjoy all of it. It's a matter of mindset. You see, the problem is that you're too soft and you expect life to be a Disney fairy tale. It's not. but you can live it and make it look that way if you know how to live. So many people, they don't even know how to live. Huh? Imagine spending your time complaining or wishing for things you don't have. Nothing wrong with being ambitious. There's much wrong with living in a world where you're in constant lack and want. Being ambitious is saying, I'm happy with what I have, and I'm also pursuing more. But imagine being in that situation where you feel like it's never good enough. That's where a lot of people live. In fact, a lot of Americans are there. I'd really like to be in between the American modality and the European modality. The Europeans are like, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I can't do this. I can't do that. We all need to be equally poor. And then the Americans like, I got to be a millionaire to be happy. Is both ends are foolish, and they both lack spirituality. Shout out to Trino writes, less than 5 minutes in and great game. All day, every day. All day, every day. Um, and Major Mind and Soul, you don't even have to time them out. You can ban them. I don't know if that it allows you to. Let me know, but you should be able to ban them. Anyways, so the fact of the matter is, the people who would watch what you're doing, like, oh, that's an L. Well, those are usually people who don't like you. They don't matter. But here's a funny thing: they don't even like themselves. They don't even like themselves. You have to be able to allocate. You see, as a businessman, I'm good at allocating capital, whether it's the capital of time, it's the capital of energy, the capital of emotion. I can allocate it. You have to ask yourself, are you allocating capital to the wrong places? Well, what do I mean? You giving time to people who don't matter? You giving energy to people who don't matter? You know how many times people ask me questions and I don't even answer the question because it's like, who are you? You're nobody. There's no authority over me that can compel me to answer a question. I don't care who you are. You could have a badge on, you could be behind a pulpit. No one has the authority to compel me to answer. No one has the authority to control my thoughts and my speech. Most people don't matter. I treat them as such. You see, when you're weak and you don't have real presence of mind or strength of character, you you allow your inferiors to become your leader. When someone asks you a question and you answer, well, at some point they're leading you, right? They put something in your head, right? So if I say, what's your favorite color? And you say green, I led you to give me that answer. No, there's nothing wrong with cooperating in a conversation, but there's much wrong when people are asking the wrong questions or they're trying to lead you down the wrong path, which might be one of negativity, might be a path of, trying to destroy you. We have many demons out here. Devils are not down below, they're walking on earth among us. The question is, will you engage them or will you evade them? Will you vanquish them? I'd much rather evade and vanquish. Shout out to Nicaragua Saint, right? Shout out to the big homie. My Jordan trip was decent. Well, good for you. So you have fools constantly talking about L's. I don't talk about L's. If I do, it's for the purpose of learning. And at that point in which I'm learning, it's not an L, it's a W. Furthermore, intelligent people know how to control the psyche and how to influence their own psyche. I'll give you an example. So people often comment about pickup artists or dating coaches, which I am not. I'm merely a spiritual teacher and a businessman. And with these dating coaches, if one of them is brave enough to do the honorable thing, which is to spit game real time in real life without all of these fake props and hidden cameras that women can see, and we know that the woman's an actual paid actress, if they actually go out and spit game and they get shut down or rejected or they get declined or what have you, and then people are judging them negatively and they're like, oh, feeling down about it. I already know they're not a winner in life because that's not how winners think. That's not how winners react. Winners realize that, A, this is a part of the process. If you're in sales and you're going to make 100 attempts, you might only sell 8 items. but you realize that you have to talk to 100 people just to sell 8 items. So even the persons who decline your offer are a part of your victory process. That's number one. Then number two, if you're really a game spitter like your boy and you enjoy the game, and I really do love the game, you realize that at the point in which you're too successful in the game, it's a double-edged sword, which is to say that you're also out of the game. Right? And I enjoy the game. So, for example, if I meet a chick that's perfectly lines up with everything that I want, at some level, I'm getting closer to getting out of a game which I thoroughly enjoy. So sometimes people enjoy the outcome of things. Sometimes they enjoy the process of things. I'd much rather enjoy the process because the process is something that you can re-engage constantly. The outcome is generally like a one-time thing. So if you're a monogamous man and you consider yourself a game spitter and one who loves the game, and then you meet a chick that's the woman of your dreams, now you're out the game. You're out the game. You're done with the game. Now you're going into family life. It's a different stage of life, which hopefully you can enjoy. But the fact of the matter is, if you really love the game, and you're not going to win at any game that you don't love, then you're going to know that the L's in the game, that's a part of the joy. If you went and won every single time, it would not be fun, right? If you won every time, it wouldn't be fun. There'd be no thrill. There'd be extremely high levels of predictability. And as a result, there'd be no joy in it. Only real thinkers can comprehend something like that. And only losers, people who don't expect any level of victory, those are the ones who never try. Those are the ones who discourage you from trying because they think, you know what, if I'm not trying, I'll never win. And if the guy next to me is trying, he might win. And if he does win, then he's going to be above me. And that's what the demons among us do. They don't know happiness, they only know comparison. They only feel good about themselves when they can look down upon you. Huh? And that's where you get the concept of a hater, people who would look down upon you merely to feel good about themselves. That's why people watch trash TV like Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, so that they can see degenerates and think, you know what, I'm not so bad. That's why people watch Dr. Phil, so they can see folks who are mentally unwell. And then while they're sitting in bed, with popcorn and ice cream stains on their sheet because they eat in the bed, and sitting there with their dogs and animals in the bed because they don't have fulfilling relationships with actual humans, they sit there stuffing their face watching Dr. Phil and think, oh, you know what? Life's pretty good for me. I'm doing all right. When in actual fact, they're just comparing themselves to a very low standard. And that is the nature of humankind. So, what I want you to remember is that there are no L's. If you wake up again, if you take another breath again and you still have fighting spirit, there is no L. All it is the fight continues. There's no such thing as an L. And if you're really a boss, you can laugh and then you can enjoy the process. And more importantly, you can keep it player and have grace. And if you keep it player and have grace, I assure you that sometimes L's turn into W's. What you might think is an L, which really just means life. That's all it means. You guys think the word L means loss. I think it just means life. That's life. Life doesn't always go the way you want. And sometimes you're getting set up for something even better. And that's the part I want to remind you guys of. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a second. But sometimes if you keep it player, and I always do, and you use grace, sometimes what might appear to be an L is about to turn into a W. In other times, and this is even better, other times, what appears to be an L is setting you up for something even better, even greater. So, for example, and look at this kind of brainless stuff. Someone writes, "You look like CJ." Like, first off, I don't even know who CJ is, but imagine being so like dim-witted that you're like, someone's talking about quantum physics, and you're like, "When I was 8 years old, my favorite food was applesauce." It's like, bro, like, what are you on, man? Just like pay attention, like be a man, like stop being a toddler for a second. Anyways, one thing that people don't think about enough is when they're actually being set up for something greater, when you're moving something out of your life that you think was valuable, but it turns out it wasn't valuable. For example, when I was running my technology business and that pestilence hit around the world, that global man-made created illness started to run rampant throughout the world supposedly, and the governments were revealing their true nature and stealing away your freedom all at once. Right before that, my company was in hyper growth. It was an explosive growth. In fact, I was in China doing a phenomenal deal. I was going to be in magazines after this deal was done. I was very excited. I'd worked very hard and earned it. And anyway, so then all of a sudden, this pestilence ravishes the land, and the deal falls apart straight away. And it felt as though a lot of my hard work was being, thrown into the dustbin. And I was suffering. In fact, I held, very strong in thinking that um, this was something that wouldn't go on very long. The governments wouldn't keep people indoors so long. Business would get back to business, and that just frankly was not the case. And so much of the reserves in that corporation were depleted just rapidly, and so many deals that were closed were unclosed, if you will, and institutions that owed us very large sums of money reneged. And so the company basically fell apart over time. It took some time, took like about a year and a half for the company to come completely undone. But the fact of the matter is, up to that point in life, here's another piece of knowledge. Sometimes you think you're winning, and you are, but you're not winning as much as you think you are. You hear me? There's levels to things. You think you're winning, but you ain't even winning at the level that you could win. There's levels. So, anyways, yeah, I was doing really well in life, but I wasn't spending any money. I had to fly constantly because I had offices in different countries. There was one calendar year that I flew in and out of Korea 14 times, which is a lot in general, but especially given the difference in time zone between the United States and South Korea. So I was working really hard. I wasn't even spending money. I was saving money on accident because I was just so busy working. I wasn't spending any money. And so once that situation, the vid, had occurred, and it basically crushed the corporation I was running, I realized, and mind you, I don't take government money. I never have been one of those persons. I never will be. I didn't take any government money for my business, and I didn't take any government money for myself personally. And so once that corporation was shut down, what it allowed me to do was to rethink my approach to business. To At that time, I was in a B2B high tech company. High tech, we did hardware, we did software. We were across all the apps native. We had web applications facing four different user types. It was quite extraordinary. And it gave me a chance to rethink how I'm doing business, especially in the software game, and also to rethink my different streams of income and say, okay, you can make millions of dollars, but there's the hard way and then there's the easy way. So what I'm telling you is this: sometimes you think something is an L, and I kid you not. The Chinese government, man, they were about to do a miraculous deal with me. I was going to be in magazines. I promise you. The deal fell apart, and so you're like, oh, that's an L. No, it turned out it wasn't an L because, of course, I was going to have to work even harder, and I was going to have to take up residency in China, which, of course, itself has its benefits. To take residency in China has definitely has benefits. However, um, did I really want to stay in China 6 months out of the year? Probably not. Frankly, I don't find Chinese women to be the most attractive women. They're quite nice. They're all right, but they're not the most attractive. And people suggest that Asian women are so feminine. It's not always the case. And I don't find Chinese women to be like uniquely caring and all that stuff. So no, I didn't want to really spend 6 months out of the year in China. And then if I was going to stay 6 months in China during the year, then my other 6 months I'd have to be traveling vigorously to maintain my international business affairs and check in with family, things like that. So it would have been setting me up to do way more work, at least a hugely intense amount of work for a year. And now granted, I would have been on. You hear me? Your boy would have net worth would have been bonkers. My reputation would have been bonkers, but it's like at what cost, at what price? So then I was able to transition into different business opportunities that are super low requirement in terms of my energy, my capital, my time. And I realized, like, oh, no, there's much easier ways to make money. And also, if you're making money, you're not spending any money. What is the life of a millionaire who doesn't spend any of his millions, any of his dollars? Well, are you really a millionaire? What's the point in being a millionaire if you don't spend any money at all, right? So it changed the mode of my life. And I can tell you that based on what I know on business, when I got to that next level, all that next level promises is more work. I'm telling you, all it promised is more work. More money, yes, but more work. You're working for the money. That's one of the reasons I didn't become a lawyer, because I was told that you got to work for every penny, and you really want business systems. There are certain types of businesses that are heavier than others. So that was a major W, but I didn't realize that I was being set up for something even better. And the key is to be able to see what is there, and also to remove your emotions. And I don't care what's happening to you guys right now. There might be all kinds of terrible things happening to you guys. You might be getting a divorce. You might be getting evicted from your apartment. You might be getting your car repossessed. You might be doing all kinds of, or suffering all kinds of things that appear to be bad. But if you got a nice Mercedes and it's getting repossessed, you might be getting set up to get a Bugatti next, and you don't even know it. You're getting the Mercedes out of the way so you can bring the Bugatti into the garage, right? You might be getting evicted from your home. You're getting evicted from your home so you can get a better home, right? You might not even realize the city you're in was cool, but you'll be happier living in fill in the blank city. So you have to realize that sometimes things are taken away to make room for something greater, and you have to be open to that, but you also have to be looking for it. And more importantly, you have to make sure that you're not one who becomes discouraged. So often people easily become discouraged, thinking that, oh, I'm never going to get a car better than that. I'm never going to get a house better than that. I'm never going to get a woman better than her. Utter nonsense. Sometimes your good things come quicker than expected. Like, for example, there's one broad I was dealing with. I thought she was 25 or 26. But it turned out Shorty, and let me know if you can hear me. It turned out Shorty was actually 29, which for me, that's way too old for a variety of reasons. Namely, the reason of by then, if you're an attractive woman and you've made it to age 29 and you're still single, something is wrong with you. Very wrong. Not a little wrong. Something's very wrong with you. And so as a result, I don't deal with women in that age range. I thought Shorty was much younger, and then she had revealed that she was 29. I was like, yo. And I'd actually asked her age cleverly, and then she had revealed it. That was after dealing with her a little bit of time. And the reason I'd asked her age, because things starting to get like her behavior was like consistently kind of off. And I was like, you know what? Something's not right here. I'd asked her age, and I realized like, oh, this is why you're so crafty and you're like so inclined to hide and kind of be deceitful. You're seasoned in a bad way. So I was like, man, I invested some time with this chick. Now you could be a fool and think, oh, you know what, I took an L. No, you didn't take an L. Like, here's a beautiful thing, and I'm not going to get into it because I'm going to do a whole player story about this chick and another chick intertwined. It's been crazy. I'm doing crazy work out here. But it wasn't an L, because everything that I did with her, I would have done already. I didn't take her out on any dates. Hey, I'm going to eat. You want to pull up? She's like, yeah. I was like, all right, for sure. Then she show up. She just have a water. Literally, she's like, oh, I'll have hot water with a lemon. The European girls, they don't eat. It's a beautiful thing. Now, if one of these rascals does eat um, while she's with you, if she's eating a lot of food, you're not about to smash. Just side note, pro tip, you're not about to smash. If she like really in there eating heavy, you are not gonna smash. And she's probably poor. Stay away from poor chick. Shout out to Travis. He writes tuition for the evergreen content in a real way. He gets it. Shout out to JVR supported by PayPal. Writes tuition. Appreciate you. Okay. And shout out to Mr. Takarov, who just became a member at thesassin.com. That's THESASN.com. A lot of game here. I think we've only had two folks supporting the work via super chat. So I want to thank both of you. I do appreciate it, especially this kind of motivational content, which will really impact the trajectory of your life and of your happiness. May I acknowledge Hef.com here. It's Quet was about to be buying yachts for fun. I would have had that kind of money in in a real way, and I also would have, even more importantly, had the kind of connections to where I could just get them cooked up. You hear me? Might even be able to get them for free because I was connected at that level. But I would never. Just side note for everyone listening, I would never buy yachts because that's not something that I enjoy. I don't enjoy being at sea. I don't really understand the idea of taking a hotel and putting it on the water. It's not my thing. And I point that out because a lot of people cannot separate out what is popular and what they think or feel, what their own taste is. People can't separate out what is, common, but what is from that which is unique to them. Like when I was growing up in the hood, a lot of people wear Jordan tennis shoes, right? And they will wear J's. Shout out to Nick Hadai was saying came right back with the tuition. They will wear J's because every N word wears Jordans, right? And they think that's because the Jordans are cool. No, you're wearing J's because everybody wears J's and they've been marketed to you. And the Nike Corporation is a clever corporation, and they made Michael Jordan a god, not because they think he's a black god, but because he could be profitable for them. And you guys have succumbed to the power of a strong marketing apparatus, which is fine. But understand that. Don't think that you like chose the J's because they're stylish or because you have taste. And side note, I despise white girls who wear J's. If I see a white chick wearing some Jordans, I know that she's a filthy individual that I do not want to get involved with. You hear me? She's a low class individual. Just in general, if broads are wearing J's and they're above the age of 14, I'm like, what is wrong with Shorty? Like, grow up. You wearing sneakers out here? Like, I don't want chicks wearing sneakers. I don't want chicks wearing high heels because both of it is goofy. Like, baby girl, if you're not about to be running fives out here, I don't need you wearing J's, okay? And then, secondly, you don't need to wear stilts either because it's a sexual thing, attempting to position your body in ways that are sexually appealing. And it's also bad for your physiology. So, just all in all, lets me know that you're a dimwit, pretty much, huh? I'll go ahead and give you guys some time to support the work if you want me to carry it on. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and assume that you guys have had a great time and a good fill, and we'll go from there. And I want to thank all of you who do support the work and value the time. Shout out to Young Prince writes, "Peace of the Saints had to pay what's due in a real way." And these are the kind of messages that you don't realize how much it impacts your life because these are the things that if you actually soak in this ism as you're going through life experiencing setbacks or challenges, you're going to hear my voice say, that's not like in your voice right now, right? In your current psyche, you're going to experience a setback and you're like, oh, that's a L. And then you're going to hear me say, no, that's not a L. That's life. That's life, little buddy. Now the question is, what opportunity will you see based on what you just experienced? Objectively, okay, I lost abroad. Okay, what better chick am I going to go get now? Okay, I lost the bag. How am I going to go get more money? How am I going to use that as motivation and say, okay, let's work a little harder today. Let's work a little smarter today. Or how can I do things differently? Huh? Or there's just so many different ways that you can look at these things to pull happiness out, to pull out a greater work ethic, to pull out, um, you know, all the things that are going to keep your engine running because life is a marathon. And when you think something's an L, it slows you down. It makes you feel negative. It affects your emotions. And here's the funny thing: there's momentum to all things. You don't want to let an L momentum, a negative momentum, hit you because not only is the L itself going to cause you to suffer, you're going to line yourself up to catch more L's. You think any chick wants a guy who's walking around like this, because he's felt beaten down by the world? Nah, Brody. What I'm telling you is keep strutting. Stay diddy bopping. Keep walking like George Jefferson. Keep your chest poked out, man. And that's why I always remind you guys, I'd rather you be, if you have to err on the side of being humble or cocky, yeah, go for the cocky side. You dig? Humble or confident or arrogant, whatever, go to the arrogant side. Yeah, all these losers who are like, oh man, you need that person, he needs to be humbled, or you need to stop hating. How about that? Nah, Brody don't need to be humble. Yeah, if he winning, let Brody let his nuts hang. Yeah, they hanging and swinging because he's winning. Why don't you figure out how to win instead of figuring out how to hate? You did. That's the crazy thing. People are like, he needs to be humble. Now, in some cases, you have people who are just literally out of their mind, like the guy who has one hit song. I don't even know if I call it a hit, right? It's like not in the club, but the guy made one song that people listen to, and now he think he's Liberace. Like Brody's a nut. I still am not gonna be like, oh, he needs to be humble. No, I don't think he needs to be humble. I think he just needs to be real. He's still broke. You hear me? Like he's clear as day broke. So he just needs to be real, which is to say, how do I use the reality to actually get some money, because getting song plays, likes, and views, that don't add up to the bag. You'll be like, nah, like, is it okay to catch a couple bucks? Absolutely, and you should. You absolutely should. Don't let the pennies fall away. Pennies add up to dollars. Take in those pennies, but realize you got a song that people listen to, but you're still broke. So how do you actually transition that into real money? Well, you need business acumen, and you might need some expert advice, which he doesn't have that kind of knowledge because he's been a waiter for the last 15 years. He's not very bright, and so he'd be wise to go find someone who is bright, especially in the way of business, but he's too arrogant to do that. So it's not about him being humble. It's about him being wise and being reality based. When he's talking to someone like me, like, man, I gave you more views than you ever had, which is a lie, big lies. But it's like, Brody, measure up the dollars. Did you give me more dollars than I ever had? No. So, like, who's balling between you and I? Me. You need to get like me. Like, you need to be like low key trying to pay me a bag so you can learn how to get a bag. Don't get distracted by the wrong things. You don't need to be humble. You just need to be in reality, which is if you're broke, that's your reality. It's not about being humble. Just be real. And if you're feeling good and if you got your stuff together, man, yeah, let them hang. Why not? Why not? If you're feeling good, go ahead, but don't fake. See, that's the problem with like that little nerd kid, is that he was faking. That's why every time you see him on his interviews, he ends up crying, literally. That's wild. Or he ends up like storming off or getting angry, because on the inside, what he harbors is actual insecurity, fear, negativity, weakness, inferiority complex, poverty. That's the reality. And that's why it always comes out. Some people, they pretend arrogant, they pretend cocky, but that's not really who they are, and that's not a reflection of their true life. If you feeling cocky and arrogant and you talking your it, man, talk it. I'm right there with you. I want to hear it too. I want to hear you talk fly. I want to hear you celebrate yourself. Makes me feel good. But if that's not who you are and you're just projecting it out, that's false and phony, and you're always going to burn down. This is why when these PUAs, these nerd pickup artists, which means like basically all of them, they tell you like, oh, be an a-hole. But you're not really an a-hole though, Brody. Like, don't do that. You're trying to imitate someone like me. Like, I'm actually a mean person. I'm kind, but I'm also actually a mean person. You feel me? Like, there'll be times where I'm like out in the world and you might see me do something like, damn, bro, mean as hell. I am. It can get like that. But I'm not pretending. I'm not trying to be an a-hole. Like, for example, uh, you might see me somewhere in a line and like somebody like super close to me, I like might turn around and like put my hands on their chest and push them back. Like, bro, like you're too close. What's wrong with you? I'm like that. Like that's my actual personality. I'm not trying to like show, like that's who I really am. I really felt that way. Or I might be dealing with a broad and she say something reckless and I might tell her like, look here, shorty, like you I you're I. You're not you're not nothing to me. So if you're not gonna do this and this, yo, get out of my face, ugly. I will tell her that. That's not me being an a-hole. That's me telling how I really feel. Now, some people like, I read it in the book, Neil Strauss. He says you got to peacock. Bro, don't peacock if you're not the peacock. You did? Because if you're not the peacock, it's not gonna go well. You see, like me, like I'll wear a crazy outfit, and if somebody be hey, like say something wild, then like, I got the mouthpiece. Like it's a whole package, right? Like I'm dressed crazy, I talk crazy, and I act crazy. It's a whole package. There's no parts missing to it. Like you can only be yourself. You can improve yourself. You can show the best part of yourself, but you have to be yourself. That's the problem is people are missing that piece, and you're listening to nerds who don't know who they are, and you're not learning what is going to actually help you succeed. Like even if you look at Sneeko, just recently he made a tweet which I retweeted because it was he finally said something intelligent. He said, "You know what? I saw how people were laughing at me when I got punched in the mouth, and mind you, he learned this from me because I was the first person and the only person who pointed that out. And shout out to the folks who are sending in support and also those who are hitting the like button, which is free." Um, he said, when I got punched in the teeth, I noticed all the white supremacists around me were just laughing at me. And he said, I realized, being an America First person, all I'll ever be to them is an N word, hard R. That's correct, buddy. You'll only because you're not one of them. You're not one of them, and they're basing their self worth on racism. and people who don't have self-worth base their self-worth on racism and race. People who are successful, they don't need racism, right? People who are naturally endowed with the gifts of the creator or genetics, you don't need racism. When you look historically at the most rabid racists, they all have something weird about them. Like if you look at Joseph Goebbels, which was the minister of propaganda and public enlightenment for the Third Reich, he had a club foot, which is to say that like bro has like genetic issues. He was also small and like skinny and very unattractive in the face. Then you look at the lead guy with the funny mustache. He had very narrow shoulders, very unattractive, had a bulbous nose, which looks more like those people, had a bulbous nose, and he had no athletic prowess, no athletic ability whatsoever. So he definitely was not the Aryan Superman that's supposed to have broad shoulders and be tall and commanding. And so these are always the individuals who are themselves as individuals inferior. And as they are inferior individuals, they try to identify with a superior collective, right? They say, my group is better than your group, so I am better than you. Even though as an individual, they're very low level, low ranking. It's consistent, it's always the case. Whereas if you're a superior individual, you don't even need the group. You heard me? You're like, look, I'm top of the food chain. No, whatever group it is, I'm top of the food chain. So that's very consistent, obvious thing. So anyways, with Sneeko, he realized that, hey, like I'm a mongrel. I don't really have a group. You know, he says he's Haitian and Filipino. It's like, first off, bro, like you just say you're a mongrel because Haitian we tend to think of as black, number one, and Haitian is not a race. There are black Haitians, mostly they're black, and then you have the mulattoes, which are the minority. But in any case, when people say Haitian, they think black, they think African genetics, Negroid genetics. And so he says he's Haitian and Filipino, and he really just looks like some kind of mongrel. So that doesn't make sense. He doesn't really actually have a group. And it's ironic that the person who doesn't have a real group is the person who wants to get into race politics. They don't even have a race. He doesn't have a race. He's a mongrel, but he wants to get into race politics. Think about these things. It helps you understand the world around you. And so you can always get a sense of why people are doing what they're doing. And mostly when people are doing wickedness, it's rooting from unhappiness. When people are shining and happy, and some might call them arrogant and cocky, if it's sincere, it's rooting from a real place of joy and being self satisfied, being pleased with the self, living your best life. That's what it roots from. So if someone's, in the chat hating, well, what does it root from? Well, it roots from negativity. It's negativity, you output what you have in. You output what is inputted. You have negativity. It's very easy to understand. Like even me, whatever my racial views were, say I'm like a black supremacist, for example. So I was a black supremacist and I was an anti-white racist. Um, if I took out my time to speak on the inferiority of whites or like say negative things about whites, you still have to ask yourself, even if you believe that, like, why are you taking out time to say that or to do that? Like, how does that benefit you? Well, it doesn't. You heard me? Like unless I plan on taking them all out and I'm organizing people to take these folks out, it doesn't benefit me at all. So if I was a truly superior black person and I felt superior and I'm happy with myself, even if I don't like this other collective, it's not a good use of my time to speak ill of them and all this other stuff. I'd much rather enjoy my life as a superior man. These are the things you should be able to put together by observing people's actions. It's quite blatant, really. Shout out to Kinchley supporting the work. I appreciate you, man. So I acknowledge Corey. He writes, much respect for this essential mindset adjustment. It's so essential. And let me tell you this, you have to readjust all the time. That's why I love Boss University and I go through it all the time because Boss University is one of the greatest resets that you can do on your mentality to stay focused and sharp on the best of ideas and the best practices. And it's such a robust course that has so many different aspects of self improvement, self sustainability, business mindset, being effective in relationships, and it goes on. Shout out to Dominique. He writes, Peace and Saints, grateful to be a part of the SAS, and I watch your videos on the importance of faith and success every single day. Exactly. There you go. And shout out to Dominique. It says it was his 20th super chat on live stream. Imagine. And this is the nature of the world. Some people have sent in 20 super chats. Some people have sent in 0. And then they'll DM me and ask me for something. Talking about, I'm your biggest fan. It's like, you're not my biggest fan. I've never heard of you one time. It's impossible for you to be my biggest fan. And secondly, you're asking me for something, and I've already given to you. I've given you hundreds, nearly 1,000 videos completely free of cost, probably more than 1,000 by now. And you've given me nothing, yet you reach out to ask me. You're a demon. Stay away from me, please. It's crazy to see this kind of thing. I also acknowledge Mr. Flow writes, "Thank you for that piece on ambition." Yes, indeed. Funny thing is, some people think they're ambitious and they're really not ambitious. People have a lot of, they tend to overestimate themselves and congratulate themselves a bit too much. Like, this is a sick world. We're in a world where people will take out so much time to call each other broke. I mean, I even heard Rick Ross called Birdman broke, and I was like, "Word." I think we all know that Birdman is not broke, right? But here's the thing: even if he was broke, does Birdman being broke make Rick Ross richer? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's a total waste of time. Not even. But here's the worst part. Even worse than that. Here's the thing that's worse than two successful music moguls arguing with each other. The fact that people who are actually broke are watching it, talking about like, yeah, Rick Ross, Birdman broke. No, Rick Ross broke. Well, here's the thing. Compared to them, both of y'all, all of y'all are broke. Compared to them, all of y'all are super broke. So why even waste your time trying to figure out which of these two multimillionaires is broke when y'all can barely like cover your expenses? And the reality of why they do that, like why the viewers will engage in this kind of silliness, is because they don't have any real hope of earning. You know what I'm saying? Like they're accepting that they're broke. Me, when I was a young ball and I would hear something like so and so's broke, or like, which people didn't really say that because it wasn't like a social media era. But if I would, see somebody really getting it, or I would see somebody really not getting it, I'd look at the person who's suffering. They're not doing well, and I would say, "Ooh, I can't be like that. That's disgusting." And I would create very negative imagery in my mind. I would stay away from persons like that. I would revile all of their habits, and I would create a psychology around that existence. Then, for the people who are really being successful, I would observe, I would listen, I would heed their good advice, I would emulate their best qualities and get on with it, making myself successful. I wouldn't even spend too much time watching them be successful. I'd rather invest that time in making myself successful. And a funny thing, and I should probably do a separate video on this. Maybe maybe my editor can clip this out and make it a second video because this is actually quite deep right here. And I'm going to share this with you guys. But I'm going to take a pause for the cause. But let me tell you what I'm about to share. I'm going to share how ambition or watching successful people can make you unsuccessful. That's a paradox. How watching successful people can make you unsuccessful. That I'm going to share with you guys if people want to support the work. Otherwise, I'll probably just get to that another time. I cannot remind you enough that haters, do not allow them to distract you from your success. Do not allow haters to distract you from your success. That's their goal. They want attention and they want to distract you from your success so you end up like them, which is to say, not winning. Don't fall for it. Do not allow those devils to get you. Haters have one goal: to distract you from your success. Do not give them attention. Do not allow them to succeed. Shout out to Richard supporting the work. Now, so acknowledge Trino. Shout out to Hef. Shout out to Simi as well. Writes, oh, he just came in with the support. Shout out to Master Bruce. I also acknowledge Truckin' Dude. Shout out to Luis. He writes, is the Black Box and the Book of Dark Truths one and the same? No, the Black Box is a book. It's an actual book that you can purchase on Amazon.com, or you can get a low-cost ebook on thesassin.com. That's THESASN.com. The Book of Dark Truths is, in fact, not an actual book. It is a 2-day summit filled with pieces of information that are unpopular but truthful about human nature, such that you can understand the moves people are making, and then you can make your best move so that you can be successful faster. And that you can get at marquettedevon.com. If someone would drop the link, that would be love. Okay, and shout out to Pure Demonetized, or yeah, Pure Demonetized, supporting the work. I appreciate you. So, and mind you, anytime, and I want you guys to remind me of this too, because we can all get distracted by haters. But remember, do not let haters distract you from your success. That's what happened with 50 Cent and Ja Rule. You guys might not be old enough to remember this, but I remember it as clear as day. Ja Rule was running the hip hop game. Man, he had all these hits. Now, granted, like I don't listen to music like he was making. That was not the kind of music I like. But every thought, every female, oh man, they loved what Ja Rule was putting out. Absolutely loved it. Oh man, my hand wraps are still wet. That's disgusting. I was getting a good workout in yesterday, Saints. Very good workout, rigorous. Um, but anyways, man, the chicks loved Ja Rule's music. He was making hit after hit after hit. What would I be without you? What would I be without you? Like, man, those chicks were loving that man's music. Now the homies was kind of like, come on, man. Like, when is this dude gonna fall off? We hate having to listen to this. But he was raking in the money. He was wildly popular. He was winning. And then 50 Cent showed up and he started making diss tracks. That's what 50 Cent does. That's his bag. Then Ja Rule starts replying to the diss tracks. What happens? He gets distracted. He stops making hits. When he stopped making hits, he fell off. He didn't fall off necessarily because he started engaging with 50 Cent. He fell off because he got distracted and he stopped making hits. The hits gonna keep you on. Haters distract you from your success. Don't let them do it. Stay focused on your success. Now, this is a deep one right here. Pay attention. Watching successful people can make you unsuccessful. You're like, whoa, what are you talking about, Marquette? Shouldn't I get inspired? Yeah, you should get inspired, especially if people are inspiring you with good information. But sometimes people are not inspiring you with good information. Sometimes what they're actually doing is they might just be flossing on you, showing you things you don't have, showing things you're very far away from being able to attain. And what actually happens in your true psychology is that you become discouraged because there's such a big gap. If you're driving a Toyota today and someone is flossing a Bugatti on you, the gap between a Toyota and a Bugatti is so far that it's mind breaking, right? And I think of this all the time for a variety of reasons. But the question is, well, how many Toyotas of your Toyotas is a Bugatti worth? 40 of them. One Bugatti is like 40 Toyotas. Could you afford to have 3 Toyotas that you have? No. Could you afford to have 40? No. So if one Bugatti is worth like 40 Toyotas and probably many more, just the gap is incomprehensible to you at your current state. So if someone's just flossing on you, but they're not teaching you anything, that flossing is actually discouraging because you're looking at a Bugatti, but you're driving a Toyota. And the person driving the Bugatti is not telling you how to get a Bugatti. They're just showing you a Bugatti, or they're flossing on you about a Bugatti. And here's what's discouraging. You're in a Toyota, but you don't even know how to get to a Corvette. And this person then went from, like, you got Toyota to Corvette, to Mercedes, to BMW, to Porsche, to Ferrari, to Rolls Royce, to Bugatti. It's like way up there. And you don't even know how to get to the next step. You hear me? You don't know how to go from Toyota to, you know, Tesla, you know? And so it's that big gulf, not only a gulf in where you're at and where they are at, but it's a gulf in understanding that is discouraging. Huh? And what's more is, as you watch their success and you watch them winning, you're not utilizing time for yourself, but you're not drawing out inspiration. You might be drawing out other things if you're not being mindful. You can't just watch with your brain off. You got to watch with your brain on. You know, if you're just watching somebody smoking cigars and driving nice cars and being around gorgeous women, you might say that that's inspiring, but actually, that's not the inspiration. You've been tricked. You've been tricked, little buddy. And I'll tell you what the true inspiration is. And it's the inspiration that never gets filmed, right? The true inspiration is, I never film myself sleeping, and I should, because you'd be shocked. Marquette, did you just go to bed at 3 a.m. and then wake up at 7:30 a.m. and start working like vigorously with complete alertness? Did you just do that? I never film myself doing that. That's the inspiration. That's what gets you to the next level. But I never film that. Marquette, do you take your laptop computer everywhere that you go? And on your last trip, you had two laptops on you so you could have multiple screens and really get it in? Yeah, I never filmed that. Marquette, do you always try your best to lay the greatest of plans and constantly take risks, some of which go well, others don't? Yeah, I never film that. Marquette, do you work out every single day, whether you record it and show people or not, whether people are watching or not? Yeah, I never film that. Marquette, do you look at yourself and say, "Woo, you're a fat SOB. Unacceptable. Woo, you're not chiseled. You need to be chiseled." Yeah, all the time. It's standards. You see, the problem is that people have low standards and they don't even realize it. Yeah, they don't expect enough of themselves. And when you guys are trying to get to that next level that your idol is on, you don't realize the true mindset that your idol actually has, and he has to maintain to continue achieving. I look at my own stomach, like right now, I look at my own stomach and I'm disgusted. I look at my own biceps and I'm disgusted. I really am. And truth be told, most of the reason that I'm losing musculature on my biceps and my abdominals is, one, because I don't work the abdominals enough. That's just, it is what it is. I'm not working them enough. And then number two, because I am not getting the protein intake. And more importantly, I don't have the equipment for my arms to do biceps, right? Like, I don't have the right equipment to target the bicep as a muscle, because I'm traveling in Europe. You have a lot of apartments that don't come with gyms because they're old buildings, right? I was talking about Europe last night. Check it out. It's like quite an interesting video. And it's funny, the European mentality. I even had messaged one of the landlords in a luxury apartment. I said, "Hey, is there a gym in here?" And he says, "No, this is not a hotel. This is a residential apartment. There's no gym." And in my head, I'm like, yeah, well, in America, residential apartments all have gyms at this level. But, you know, it's Europe. But anyways, I need to find a weight or something to use as a weight to work the bicep and the tricep. So I look at it, I'm like, man, I'm disgusted. Now, granted, when I was jogging last night, man, and Polish women was like, when I was jump roping, the Polish men and women, jaw drop. One of them, when I was jump roping, she was sitting up on a ledge at the river. She's facing the river. I'm behind her. Every time I look up, she's like, and she started laughing because she's getting embarrassed because she keeps getting busted staring at the big homie. Now, here's the thing. My standards are not her standards. In her standards, I'm God on earth. In my standards, I'm the worst version of myself that I can possibly be. In my standards, I'm disgusted. In my standards, it's all bad right now. In my standards, I really need to get after this work. In her standards, she's like, I ain't never seen that in life and I need it. So the difference is that your standards aren't where they need to be, and you're watching bosses and you see the outcome of their labor, you see the fruit of their labor, but you don't see their thoughts. You don't see the standards and the mindset that allows them to get there. Even my assistant, they know the kind of standards I have for myself. There was one time I did some media for my business. So I went on a television show to talk about my business. And afterward, I said, you know what? I wanted to talk about this piece of the technology and I wanted to explain this with this language and I didn't do it. I was like, that wasn't a very good one. She was like, yeah, I understand. I've definitely seen you do better. She was like, but what is not a good one to you is excellent to everybody else. She was like, so no, it's fine. She's like, to everybody else, when you public speak, it's excellent. To you, you're looking at degrees of mastery. You know what I mean? You're looking at degrees of mastery. When they hear you speak, you're so much better than anybody that's ever come on that show that they're just astounded. But I didn't meet my standard. And my standard is the only thing that matters to me. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I don't care how anybody else feels. I want to know, did I impress Marquette Devon Burton? If Marquette Devon Burton is not impressed, it's not impressive. Okay? If Marquette's not impressed, it's not impressive. I don't care what a floozy thinks. I don't care what a dude thinks. I don't care what an employer thinks. I care about what I think because I have the highest standards and I know what I'm capable of. And none of them have the foggiest idea of what genius is or what I'm capable of. So I can only grow by abiding by my standards and expectations. Because everybody else, it's always good enough. You know what I'm saying? It's always good enough for everybody else. Now, you should ask yourself, do you actually have high standards for yourself? You probably don't. You probably don't. You might think you do, but you probably don't. And in some areas, you might not have high standards, and that might be because you shouldn't be in that area. Whatever you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it. Everything is not for everybody. Like a chick might invite me, like, hey, Marquette, let's go bowling. Nah, I'm good. I'm probably better at bowling than the average person just because I have good coordination and discipline, but I'm not great at bowling, and I don't want to be great at bowling. So I'm not going to use any time to go bowling. Now, are there things I might do it abroad that I wouldn't do dolo? Yeah, for sure. But there's a number of things that I'm like, nah, we could skip that. It's not a good use of time, and it's not something I want to be good at. And you need to be able to make that decision and that discernment. Shout out to Paul T, always supporting. Paul T is a real one. Man, people don't even mess with the likes. You got to wonder about people. Sardi's third element writes, I do the same thing in the mirror. How to build muscle and shred while traveling. I need to create that program. Man, I'm telling you. And you charge a lot because it's not going to be a big audience. It's going to be a small audience, but the people who travel a lot, they can probably afford it. So I do recommend it. I highly recommend it. And see, that's another thing that people have to understand is that you can't have everything in this human life. In this human life, you can't get all of the things you want. You can get some of the things you want. And that's why I'm constantly deciding, okay, I'm going to have this, I'm not going to have that. That's how it goes. You can't be in a situation where you're like, I want to have shredded abs and I want to have gelato every day. Nah, one of them got to go. And so you have to make sure that you're picking the right thing. And the right thing is not always to have the shredded abs. Maybe there might be one day it's sweltering hot. You with a pretty little ting, you got on a full business suit, and you got to have some gelato to keep your temperature down so you don't sweat through this suit you got on. It gets like that. So the key is to remember your disciplines, but keep thinking and use your brain. You see, I give you guidance sometimes. Sometimes I give you rules. There's some things I say never do. Never use a personal credit card. That's not guidance. That's a rule. Don't ever do it. It's always bad. I don't use any personal credit cards at all, ever, for any reason. That's a rule. Then there's other things that it's guidance. Well, guidance, exercise a minimum of 30 minutes of sweat every day. There might be sometimes you do 2 hours, you do 3 hours, right? There might be some days, like for some reason, you got to be on an airplane. You spend 18 hours in the air. All you had time to do was 10 minutes of ab crunches in the airport lounge, right? It might happen like that. But that's a guidance. and it's a minimum. It's a minimum, and you should do everything you can to stick to the script of who you are. You see, the problem is that people very easily they're gonna become somebody else. You heard me. When Sneeko get around the white supremacist, now he's a white supremacist. He get around the Arabs, or so and so influencer, now he's a Muslim, right? People don't know how to stay in their lane and respect the self. That's a challenging thing. Respect the self. And I know that people are super malleable in a bad way. I can observe swaths of people and see when they're influenced. Now, all of a sudden, everything on the internet is nasty work. Oh, blah, blah, blah. That's nasty work. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's wild. Blah, blah, blah. That's crazy. Like, everyone talks like the same robot. Historically, your language is a representation of your culture. Now all of a sudden everyone has a homogenized culture. You can't tell, where they're from or what they're about or what group they belong to. And that's why among the saints, we have a particular way that we speak, and it'll help you bring us together. Like, it used to be racially defined. I remember when I was in Mykonos with Jabri, and he had went to a mall. I think I went with a chick. I forget, or maybe he had left the mall with a chick before I had left the mall. And then I came to the taxi stand, and they're like, "Oh, we saw your friend earlier." We had never talked to these people, and we had never been seen together. But they're like, "Oh, that must be your friend. You guys are both black, and no one here is black except you guys. And we don't think you coincidentally showed up on the same day." So, like, they grouped us together. Now race breaks down when you're on the island of Mykonos at a very exclusive high end mall. This makes sense. But the fact is that, right, he says everyone nowadays saying type ish. Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's late. They kind of late on that one, standing on business. Right. People don't think, they just repeat. But now you will be known by your style of dress, your manner, your speech, and all of these things. And let people know the saints by us being suited and booted, super clean, militant man, upright, confident, direct, polite. Oh man, this guy, he must be one of those guys. He must be part of the assassin. This must be a saint. I must be a lady saint by the way that we conduct ourselves. Like, as we present ourselves, that's a brand. That is a standard. That is a culture. And you got a lot of these rascals, man. They go across the street, and whatever people are saying, doing, and thinking across the street, now they're saying, doing, and thinking the same thing. It's really a pity, man. They stand for nothing. Got to blame their old heads. They ain't teach them nothing. And the funny thing too is the truly dim-witted, they'll, "Oh, Marquette, you say," fill in the blank with something that Marquette says. It's like, yeah, that's correct, dummy. I do say that. And the reason that you can identify that with me is because that is unique to me. Whereas all of this, "Oh, no, 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 that's nasty work." It's like, okay, so now you sound like anyone, like literally anyone. Like, who are you? What's your identity? Like, I can't point to a culture. I can't point to anything. Like, you just sound like the whole internet, the whole planet Earth. And it's weird too, because in my neighborhood, we're from, in the Los Angeles area, we create slang. So what you don't realize, and the world is so slow, what you do not realize, when I was 11 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, that's when bro started being used in urban communities in LA. Now people are just now starting to use bro commonly. And I remember when it was first used in LA, my cousins from San Diego, they're like, "You sound like a white boy. What do you mean, bro?" "Yeah, bro." They're like, "That's some white boy stuff." And I was like, "All right, bro." No, that was some LA stuff. And now it's reached the rest of the world. LA culture, Black Americans in Los Angeles, they manufacture language and culture, which gets commercialized through hip hop music, through television. Why? Because we're in LA. Where's Hollywood? LA. And they've stolen the culture historically. That's just what it is. But the fact of the matter is, like, everyone's so damn late to the party. You dig? Like, yeah, we're saying bro, like when I was an actual middle schooler. You're late to the party. It's okay. But now what we have is that no one knows where culture is coming from. I kid you not. I meet people in the UK who are convinced that drill rap came from the United Kingdom, when in actual fact, it comes from Chicago. By the way, I also used to live in Chicago. And it's just like, wow, you guys are that foolish? But it's not entirely and only that they're foolish. It's partly that it's the mode of the modern world, is that we can't track down where this piece of culture came from. It came from Black Americans in Chicago, Illinois. But the Brits being so goofier over here, like, yeah, we created drill rap. Like, no, y'all eat tea and crumpets. Y'all ain't created a damn thing. You hear me? Y'all need to stick to them tea and crumpets talking about you created drill rap. Please stop. Shout out to Jimmy. He writes pieces at the same time, cocky and arrogant, yet incredibly humble. But I'm missing something big on standards and values. Appreciate and value your wisdom and intellect. I think and agree with 99% of what you say. I appreciate that. We saying the same thing. We saying the same thing. Ladies and saints, I'll give you some time to send in your last comments, questions as we wind down. Imagine somebody said that they started saying stuff in Boston. Like, Boston has not created nothing. Boston does not matter. And it's love, but like no one ever talks about Boston. Like, for example, I'm about to go on a jog in Europe. If I stop and talk to 10 people, like, hey, you ever heard of Boston? People are like, well, who's that? Who's Boston? Is that a singer? Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, Boston doesn't matter. Don't you trick yourself. Use a damn nut. Bro, come on. You live in a place that does not matter. Stop it, please. Like, this is the delusion I'm talking about. You live in Boston. No one cares about Boston. I used to have a broad in Boston, for real. Like, little blonde, blue-eyed teen, large, beautiful eyes, very skinny. I remember when I stripped her down, tall and skinny, wide hips. I remember I stripped her down. I was kind of in awe. Whew, it used to get wet too. But anyways, she wanted me to move to Boston to mess with her. And I got to Boston and I was like, oh, and it snowed crazy? Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Ain't no reason to be here. You're like, stop it. You're a fool. And that's how I know people don't have any. Somebody put, we got the best universities. Yeah, that's dope. But here's a funny thing: Boston doesn't matter at such a level that if I go around the world and I say, hey, have you heard of Harvard University? People are like, of course I've heard of Harvard. And then like, do you know what Boston is? They're like, what's Boston? Is that another university? Nah, never mind. You guys have such little freaking experience that you don't know that you don't matter. You don't know you don't matter. You live in Boston. That's not a world renowned city. I mention Las Vegas anywhere, people are like, oh, Las Vegas, party, casino, big money. They get it. Bright lights. I mentioned New York. I want to visit New York. My auntie, she live in New York. I mentioned Los Angeles. Oh, beach, palm tree, supermodel. There's a resonance there. You mentioned Boston. People are like, crickets. Like, come on, bro. Like, stop being stupid. Like, this is what annoys me. It's like, sit down and shut up, okay? Sit down and shut up. Boston doesn't matter. You don't matter. This is when I know you're not going to get money because you don't have a sense of what matters and what doesn't matter. You don't have any sense that you're in a place that is irrelevant, okay? This is what I mean. When you're around bosses and you have boss conversation, people, he writes, you're Boston doesn't. Oh my God, he thinks Boston matters. This is amazing. Wow, he thinks Boston matters. Oh, what an idiot! What an idiot! And this is a clear indication that he's a poor loser. If you're around the world dealing with bosses and people, when they ask you where do you live, like it's kind of a way for them to assess if you matter and what your class is and if you're on the scene. And even if we look within cities, people always want to know where your neighborhood is to figure out like what your money game look like, what your lifestyle look like. You're in Boston, like, nah, that doesn't really matter like that, Brody. Like, no, stop it, please. Like Boston, you might as well be living in Chattanooga. What was that in Tennessee? You're Chattanooga. You might as well be living in Chattanooga, Brody. Stop it. You're an idiot. Boston doesn't matter. And one of the other things is it's not like I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just keeping it a being with you. And people can't take it. I was talking to a chick. What country was Shorty from? Oh yeah, a Romanian chick, right? Not one I mentioned previously, a different one, a newer one. And she was like, "Come to Romania," and I was like, "No, I was just in Romania. Like your country is not great enough that I would like just keep popping back in it like that. Like, nah, like that country is not fire." She was like, "But I'm Romanian. You can't say that about my country." I was like, no, I can't. I can't because it's the truth. Like your country is I, okay? So like if you're like, oh, black Americans, like they don't have high educational attainment. I'm not gonna be like, you can't say that about black Americans. I'm a black American. I'm like, No, the facts are the facts. They don't have high educational attainment. And Romania is a backwater. Romania is a retrograde economy that Romania does not really matter in the world. Sadly, most people today only know Romania exists because of Andrew Tate. Like that's how irrelevant your country is, okay? Your country's irrelevant. People know Ethiopia sooner than they would know Romania, okay? Your country doesn't matter. It's not a central place. Like, for example, Dubai is a city, but it's central. You have to go there if you have money. Istanbul is it's an airport hub in the world. You have to stop through there if you're an international traveler. Certain places matter and certain places don't matter. In the ancient world, Timbuktu, it matters, right? Like you got to pull up to Timbuktu if you want knowledge. Today, where is Timbuktu? Don't nobody know, don't nobody care, okay? Boston doesn't matter. You don't matter, okay? Just take that, okay? Stop with this. I'm important. You're not important. That's the problem. Is we tend to be so freaking like narcissistic and self-obsessed that we think that we're always it. No, like you are not it. You don't matter. You're in Boston, Brody. You are irrelevant, homeboy. And even me, when I travel around, I grew up in Los Angeles. When I meet foreigners and I say, "Oh, well, where would you want to visit in America?" Small talk. They're like, "New York." I want to hear them say Los Angeles. I do. But I know from experience that New York is far more world renowned than Los Angeles is. Everyone knows Los Angeles. Everyone thinks it's beautiful, but the brand of New York is so much stronger. And I've been to New York a ton of times. I've been to Los Angeles a ton of times. Obviously, I grew up there. I would love to hear Los Angeles because I think it's a much better city. It's more beautiful in a literal sense. We got beaches, we got good weather, we have models, we have people who are not stacked on top of each other. You can see the sun anywhere. It's a much more human place to live. I would love to travel around the world and say, "Oh, well, where do you want to visit?" They're like, "Los Angeles." No, they're going to say New York because New York has brand. Why? Because New York is a financial hub, dummy. New York is where the New York Stock Exchange is, goofball. So they're, of course, more familiar with this financial hub, even though it's filthy. It has rats, it has dirty public transportation, it has a bunch of foreigners, it has no hint of what America actually is. They're still going to say New York. And I accept that because that's the truth. Just like you need to accept that you're an idiot, a loser, you're broke, and Boston sucks and doesn't matter. Okay? Accept all that. That's what it is, Brody. Like New York is world famous. Los Angeles is world famous, just less so. Boston is not world famous. It's irrelevant, has bad weather. The accent sucks. Okay. And no one really has a sense of what it is from a cultural standpoint. You just get a couple Ben Affleck movies that are terrible, and you hear that gross accent. And you're like, why did I watch this movie on this long flight? Like, why? Okay, there you go. You're an idiot and a loser with low self esteem, and you hate reality. You're welcome. Glad I could help. I guess send that boy an invoice for that therapy session. Shout out to Luis. He writes, "I have a work trip to Aruba. Recommendation: I've never been to Aruba. He writes, "I often don't travel, or it's been at least a very long time since I have." Ah, okay. I take some bug spray, small container that'll meet TSA requirements, and pack some swimming trunks, and that's about it. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. Don't overpack. There's nothing, at least in my case, because you probably are not going to continue traveling onward. But I try not to overpack because you might buy things, or when you need to pack quickly, you don't want to have to stuff things into your case. Shout out to Daryl, who's a member on this channel. He writes, "I've been to 42 countries, and it is a general consensus that people I meet either want to see New York or Hawaii." I've never heard Hawaii. Maybe once or twice. Maybe I can't specifically remember, but that's fascinating. Shout out. But yeah, New York is always in there. There's just no doubt about it. Like New York is always there. In fact, funny thing, I'm gonna do a member only live session. There's a waitress here that factors into this horror story in the craziest way, and she's actually moving to New York State, not New York City, New York State. I think she probably ain't even know the difference. You heard me? She about to get a rude awakening. Shout out to Alejandro, writes, "Peace of Saints tuition. Appreciate you." Bro thought he was popping in Boston. Like, please stop. Bro thought Boston was popping. He probably the same dude who like drives like a Dodge Charger and he thinks he's like rolling. You hear me? He got a Chrysler 300. He think he got a Rolls Royce. You hear me? He the kind of dude that probably like thinks he's like that guy, but no one else does. Shout out to Brody, delusional as hell. That's awesome. That is awesome. Look at, is this the same dude? He writes, nobody knows Boston sports, schools, and hospitals in the world. Like, bro, are you still trying? Like, please, you're a loser. Stop it. That's amazing. Bro, still trying. This nigga has no life. Anyways, oh, did he put food? Okay. But Saints, let me make sure I didn't miss anybody who came in via Venmo or PayPal, which is the preferred way. Shout out to Juan supporting the work, writes tuition, comment, and email. All right, let's see what he says. He writes, bought the floral MDB label shorts, and I can't even lie. I can't stop wearing them. Great job. Saying, I appreciate that. And the floral MDB label athletic shorts, they're cold because athletic shorts don't really have any sauce. You hear me? And anytime you're out in this world, it's like show the best of who you are. And those kind of pieces, those are conversation starter pieces, man. Those are pieces that set you apart from all these rascals out here. You hear me? You don't want to look like you from Boston. You dig? You want to look like you from LA or New York. Like you got some style, taste, elegance, and class. You dig? I'm throwing slick shots. Shout out to Charlie, comes in by Venmo. He writes, I just got to the gym. Let's get this work in. Peace of Saints. Indeed, I'm about to get this work in today as well. I need to probably put some food on the stomach. I mean, I'll be exercising on 0 calories just back from them weight cutting boxing days. Got started with it, never stopped. I promise you, we're going to get this work in. Shout out to Darren. Writes tuition, peace to the saints, always supporting. Mouse to acknowledge Mr. Morrison writes, I would just like to say, keep it going. I'm loving this topic as always. Peace to the saints and wish you more life. I appreciate that. Shout out to Robert, writes, support tuition. Also acknowledge Joshua, supporting the word. Shout out to Jose, he writes, did the man and woman trucker hat get discontinued? If so, any chance we can get a rerun? Peace to the saints, Jose. Oh, man. You might have to, do you have one or do you have a picture of one to send me so I can see exactly what you're talking about? Because I don't, if you're talking about the one that had the man and woman like kind of offset, yeah, it did get discontinued. Um, Let me know what exactly you want, and I think we might be able to cook it up for you, depending. Wow, okay. I just got a message from my landlord. You ever hear me say landlord? It's amazing, right? But I don't live in this country. They asked me if there's anything they can do to make my stay even better. That's not entirely common in Europe. You heard me, so shout out to them. They really have a nice way of doing things. I appreciate these folks. Shout out to Yasir. He writes, Marquette, you frequently mention Ethiopia in our discussions. Yes, the women are gorgeous, and I like Dodo Watch. What can I say? What aspects of this country stand out to you and make it particularly significant? The women are gorgeous. The history is fascinating. They're one of the few African countries that ha- I guess one of two that haven't been colonized by Europeans. So their culture is pure, and they should be an emerging power. They have significant population. Um, I think if they were smart enough to reunite with Eritrea, which would probably only work through war, and they haven't been strong enough to actually defeat Eritrea. Strangely, I mean, who's backing Eritrea, right? If they get that access to that coastline, that's really going to take them over the edge in terms of economic capacity. But the women are gorgeous. The population is significant, and they have a unique history in the continent of Africa. Shout out to Dedrick. He writes, sent email. Okay, let's see what you got here. I'll give it a second for it to come in. And shout out to Abu, who just became a member at thesassin.com. That's THESASN.com. Shorty sent me a picture of her, like another woman massaging her inner thigh. Listen, if you knew what I actually do on a regular basis, you listen to me. What I actually do on a regular basis in terms of quality of life, ain't nobody living like this, man. I don't care if they got a billion, I don't care if they have $1 trillion. Ain't nobody living like this. Shout out to Dedrick. He writes, you have you have to review Boss University and Book of Dark Truths. What would you recommend for master communicate? Wait, can you rewrite that, Dedrick? I think that I'm not understanding exactly what you're saying. Yeah, can you rewrite that for me? I'm not entirely understanding what you emailed in. You know, the funny thing, let me go back to this hater real quick because he's a funny guy. He's cracking me up. Somebody had, let me see, then I can't even find that. Dude, maybe somebody blocked him, and that'll be good. He writes, our hospitals have the best medical care in the world. See, like that lets me know you've never been outside of your little shitty Boston neighborhood. You're an imbecile. You see, around the world, people get hit with a bunch of propaganda. You know, there are some who think America is very wealthy, and that's all it is a bunch of rich people, no poor people. I told an Ethiopian girl, she's actually Eritrean living in Ethiopia. I was talking to her recently, and she asked me a question about my upbringing, and I'd answer the question. And she's like, "Oh, wow." She's like, "People in America live like that?" I was like, "Yeah, like, you don't think there's any poor people there?" She was like, I didn't know that there were like poor like that." I was like, "Yeah, it's a real thing." Then you go to Europe, well, what do they think of America? They think we have not only no health care, they think we have terrible health care. So when you're talking about like Boston has the best hospitals in the world, yeah, nobody knows and nobody cares. And when people think about world renowned hospitals, I think they think about Johns Hopkins first, which is my alma mater. That's in Baltimore, not Boston. So I'm pretty sure Johns Hopkins is the most famous hospital from a brand perspective. Look at somebody named Tanner writes, Boston is a workplace and training ground for the most educated people in the world. And it very well may be. It very well may be, but nobody cares though. See, like you guys, like I could tell you guys are not business people, and I can tell you're not well traveled because you don't understand the difference between what is factual and what the masses understand. You need the book of dark truths. You're suffering in this world. I could tell. You're really suffering. If you're arguing in favor of Boston mattering, you're suffering and you're dumb because Boston doesn't matter. And more importantly, you don't matter. You see, like me, if I lived in a place that doesn't matter, I wouldn't start arguing that that place matters because I matter. You see, but you don't matter. So you want to feel like you live in a place that's important. It makes you feel important because you're not important. You don't understand your own psychology. It's really comical. Like they're really like this is hilarious. I want to hear more great things about Boston. You guys are idiots. And there's other people, and while you guys are in there like Boston's great, while you're in there like Boston's great, there's other people who are also from Boston who are in the chat right now, and they're not saying anything because it's just not necessary. They're not saying anything because they're intelligent. Like if people were like throwing shade on LA, if like there's like a New Yorker throwing shade on LA, I'll probably just listen to it and laugh and like might even add in. You hear me? Like I don't feel the need to defend it because I am not LA. I'm Marquette Devon Burton. You hear me? And Marquette Devon Burton, that's a brand that's pristine the world over. LA, I don't need to defend LA because I'm from LA. I don't need to defend Baltimore because I live in Baltimore. It just is what it is. But you are a nobody who has low self esteem. So like you feel like, well, I am Boston's great and I'm great because I'm from Boston. Like, nah, you suck and Boston sucks. Shout out to Jose. He writes, yes, sir, the one with the offset logo. Been wearing mine so much it got dirty. That happened with my MDB label hat, my khaki one. I used to wear that joint so much. I guess I was sweating in the Middle East one time. I got that joint sweated out. So I need a new one. They get like that. He writes, plus I only got the green and I need all the colors. Would be much appreciated to run it back. Okay, let me save this email so we can see if we can get that cooked up for you. And I definitely understand you because sometimes you have those pieces that are just you. You know what I'm saying? Like you got those pieces that you just got to have in the collection. Me, I'm the kind of cat that if I got something that I really mess with, I need it in every color. I need it in all the colors. Yeah, and I'm gonna wear it back to back to back so people know what's up. That's just me though. That's just me. Got that Superman wardrobe. You dig? He writes, you recommended to review Boss University every week and Book of Dark Truths every few days. Yeah, in a real way. He writes, what do you recommend for the Master Communicator course, Peace of the Saints? Ah, that's a good one. See, the Master Communicator course, because it looks at so many different aspects of communication, from body language to interpersonal conversation to interpreting others to public speaking, you don't have to review the whole course every week. But what I would do is I would review those pieces that are related to interpersonal communication, body language, and perceiving others. I would review those pieces on a weekly basis. Absolutely. And then if you have some public speaking coming up, of course, you're going to want to hit the public speaking and as well the debate pieces. So if you're going to be talking publicly, whether it's at a board meeting, in a work discussion, or whatever the case is, you're going to want to review the public speaking pieces and also the debate tactic pieces. And also, I got some pieces in there about communication in the work environment. So you want to use those as appropriate. But the other pieces, those are everyday pieces, interpersonal communication, communication and relationships, body language. Those you need to like really stay strong on every day. Right. Mark writes, I'm from the UK. Only thing we ever heard of in Boston was when y'all got bombed at the marathon. Exactly. And the thing is, these delusional people, they won't accept reality. They're just like broads. Shout out to Daryl. He writes, someone in the chat asked, Marquette, what's your opinion on learning new languages as an adult, and which top five would you suggest? Like, it's not even a good use of time at all. If I ever pick up anything linguistically, it's to crack a little broad. You hear me? And it's just like I'm picking up a couple languages just to crack a little broad. Like, for example, last night I was coming from dealing with this Ukrainian chick who's like a total dirtbag. So I thought she was a good girl, but it's like, this chick's a dirtbag for sure. Like, I'm like, yo, like you're trying to act like you're a virgin, but you also have Tinder. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. It's over for me. It's over. It's over. I'm out. I'm out. So I'm leaving messing with Shorty, and I go into a Zabka, like convenience store, and I was like, this is a pretty little Asian thing right here, a bit on the pale side. I'm wondering, is this one Korean or Japanese? I was like, ask her where she's from. She's fluent in Polish, and she says that she's from Kazakhstan. It's funny because already got two Kazakh chicks on deck. Like I'm doing really well in the Kazakh market. And like and I actually do have like some Kazakh phrases on here. So, but I didn't have them ready up here where it counts. So I was like, all right, for sure, shorty. So I'm already get my Kazakh phrases together. You dig? When I go back in there, I'm gonna hit her with my Kazakh. Pause. Hit her with the Kazakh. Take this Kazakh. Take this Kazakh. But the point is, um, I only use it for things like that. In terms of actual business, for example, when I was doing business in China, I had interpreters with me because when you're doing business, you don't have time to use bad Mandarin and bad Cantonese. When I was doing business in South Korea, I had interpreters with me because you are doing high level deals and there should be no misunderstanding with legal paperwork. So, anytime you're operating at a high level, you can afford interpreters, you're going to need attorneys. Being able to speak the language is, it's something you might do recreational, but of all the things that are important on the planet Earth for men who are like big deals and they got big things going on, learning a language is a horrible use of time. If you're an average Joe and you don't have super important stuff, yeah, learn a language. If you're a female, yeah, learn a language. But if you're a dude who speaks a major language, English, nah, it's not worth it. If English is your first language, it's not worth it. If French is your first language, pick up another language for sure. If Mandarin is your first language and you want to do international business, pick up another language. If Russian is your first language, pick up another language. But if English is your first language, you good. Now your kids might want to pick up some other languages, but you're good. Until we die, yeah, we got another 60 years we could ride this out. English is everything. And anybody who says that's not true, they don't know or they're lying. That's all there is to that. They don't know or they're lying. Shout out to the Secretary of State. He writes, good morning, sir. I hope you're having a great day. I am. He says, thanks for the information and good laughs as always. It's my pleasure. It's always good to enjoy a laugh, isn't it? Daryl writes, you aren't giving too much game with the Kazakh girls. He says you aren't giving out too much game with the Kazakh girls. I live half of the year in. Oh, really? Wow, wow, man. The Kazakh they cheekbone game be crazy though. Their cheekbones are extraordinary, really. At least the ones I have, their cheekbones are insane. And the one I saw at the store last night, she's way more pale than the two that I have. I was kind of curious. I'm interested to know which region she's from. She's really pretty. So yeah, I'm a for sure sliding slider. He says I want to do international business in Japan, and my national language is English. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, it'll probably be helpful. But when you say you want to do international business, I mean, you really need to think about what do you mean. So, like, I did international business in South Korea and China. I brought a corporation there. When you're the boss and you come in with a value add, you don't need to speak that language. But if you want to go in like as a peon or you want to go in working in a corporation in Japan, an existing corporation, you're going to need to know Japanese. You're going to need to know Mandarin if you want to go slide into one of their corporations. But you have to ask yourself, why would they hire you instead of hiring a native speaker? So your Japanese language skills have to be in addition to other skills that are more critical, like engineering or fill in the blank. He writes, if you only speak English, you must rely on Western dollars. That was completely stupid. That was literally stupid. All due respect, heck, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea. That was completely stupid. I literally just explained that I had an actual office in Pangyo, South Korea. An office. You literally don't know what you're talking about. Please shut up. And that's respectfully with love. You're probably a fan, but please shut up. I just hate to hear people misguiding people. Shut up. Like, don't lie to people when you don't know. It's okay to say I don't know, but don't lie to people. Bro, out here lying to people. And it's sad that I have to get angry like that, but it's like, dude, you're telling people the wrong things. Like, there are people on here who are trying to learn something and you're telling them the wrong thing. You should be ashamed of yourself. You just stated, right? Someone wrote Warren Buffett and Michael Jordan don't need to learn any language. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. You just stated that someone is not going to be able to earn other currencies just knowing English. They're only going to be able to earn the dollar. You can scroll through my Instagram. I think it might still be there just to show how foolish. Shorty writes, I'm going to you. Well, you don't have to watch me work out, bitch. It might still be here. Let me see if I can find it just to like graphically show how foolish this comment is. It's amazing. That's the worst thing is that, and you might not be a dumb person. You might have just not thought before you did whatever you did, but it's like, why don't people think before they speak? Bro said you're only going to be able to earn dollars. That's amazing. That's so amazingly wrong. I archived it. That's a pity. That's a pity. And if that was true, Africans would be some of the wealthiest people on earth. You hear me? Yeah, Africans speak more languages than most anybody. Shout out to the Africans. Yeah, it turns out there's certain languages that pay and there's certain languages that don't. And what you guys don't understand is that speaking a language is not a value add, fool. Let me tell you how foolish you are if you think speaking a language is a value add. Okay, here's an example. You're like, should I learn Japanese? Aren't there like a ton of people who already speak Japanese? They're called Japanese people. Oh, should I learn Chinese? You mean Mandarin or Cantonese? No, there's already a billion people who speak Mandarin and Cantonese. They're called Chinese people. And here's the crazier part. They speak native level Mandarin or Cantonese, and they speak native level English. So you think you're going to beat them just by learning a language? Are you dumb? Well, yeah, you are dumb. That's the problem. You are dumb. Okay. Thanks. Oh my God. Freaking stupidity. It's endless, man. It's endless. And I wouldn't even call you dumb, except that you're contradicting what I'm saying. If you were just like saying something unrelated, cool. But you're contradicting what I'm saying, which I know and everyone watching for the most part knows is factual. You're not going to get a great job in Japan as an American because you speak English and Japanese, unless you also are good with engineering, great with marketing. You bring some skill and sophistication that Japanese people don't have. Shout out to Daryl. He writes, people get paid to teach English as native speakers in Japan and many other countries. That's correct, but how much do they get paid? That part. How much do they get paid? Put that part out there. And listen, you guys, what y'all don't realize is, man, I know the world. You know how many girls I got who teach English? The girl I saw last night teaches English. Literally, the girl I saw last night teaches English. And then I got a Kazakh girl in Dubai that teaches English. Come on, bro. Like, who you talking to? I know what these people make. They make peanuts. What? Come on, man. Yeah, you get paid teaching English. You get paid peanuts. They don't want to pay these people no money. Are you kidding me, bro? People are getting paid peanuts, man. I'm talking about like less than American minimum wage peanuts. Cause you got to think about it. I'm not gonna listen. You guys can ignore what I'm telling you if you want to. Ignore it if you want to. If you think speaking English is a value add, you are mistaken. You are deeply mistaken. Says, right, why do black women hate confident men? Shout out to Derek. He writes, this was in agreement with your point. It would be more beneficial to speak English in their country rather than learning their language. I think it depends on the country and a number of factors. One thing that is common that people are not aware of, if you're doing high level university in certain countries, the program is in English. Yeah, I'm in Poland right now. I got a little bitty who's literally coming to see me right now. She's taking a law degree in English. Well, is it a law? I don't even know what degree she's taking, but whatever the hell she's taking, it's in English. Her English is kind of shisty, which is amazing. Like, how are you passing your classes? How are you passing your classes? But whatever degree she's taking is in English. Matter of fact, let me tell Shorty, like, she's in for a rude awakening. She think we about to kick it, and I'm really about to just like work out. Shout out to Nate. Let me make sure I'm not accidentally skipping anybody. Nate writes, random question: how can black men save the ethnic image of black women? Bro, like, I don't even know if that's a good use of time, or are they too far gone? It's not about saving the image, it's about the substance. That's the problem with black folks, is that they're concerned with the image. They're concerned with things that are immaterial, like holidays. Like, oh, they made a statue of Martin Luther King in Washington, D.C. We won. Well, first off, I saw the statue. It doesn't even look like Martin Luther King. It looked like some random N word. And more importantly, having a holiday means nothing. And what the government does is so shicey. They give you Black History Month, and they turn around and we got LGBTQ History Month, we got Tesla History Month, we got Handicap History Month, we got Bald People History Month. It's like, bro, it means nothing. He writes, is it totally up to them to fix Sexy Red, Cardi B, and etc.? And I thought Cardi B claimed she's like Dominican or Puerto Rican or so. I don't know. But anyway, his point is this: no, it's up to all men to get those women in line, which is to say, especially if you identify as a part of that culture that she identifies as. So, say your primary identity is like, I'm a saint. Then, if a woman says she's a lady saint, If she belongs to a man who is a saint, which she only could, then he needs to keep her in line. If she does not belong to a man, then her father needs to keep her in line if he's a part of this thing of ours. And if not, it's our responsibility to chastise her and keep her in line or excommunicate her. Similarly, if you identify as black and she identifies as black, it is your responsibility to make sure that she doesn't misrepresent you. For example, in the Arab countries, if you're in among the Emiratis or you're among the Saudis, they'll tell a or you're among the Iranians, if a broad is not wearing hijab and they say, hey, the women of our culture wear hijab, yeah, they call the police on shorty. And they do have the religious police. I forget what they call them, but they do have religious police. They pull up on shorty because she ain't wearing hijab, and it's an issue. So they're going to enforce it. Women, most of them are what was described in the story of Adam and Eve. There's that wicked inclination. It doesn't make them wholly wicked and bad, but they got to be kept in line. It's the fact of the matter. And I'm not saying you need to be brutal or abusive or anything like that, but they must have leadership. Without leadership, they really engage in filthy behaviors. You ever notice that you'll watch on Instagram? They have like all these workout classes. They have like stripper like workout classes, like twerking workout classes. Like, why can't you devils just go to the gym and exercise? Why do you have to be sexually exploiting yourself? Why? Because there's that wickedness within them that, if not managed by a man, is going to get out of control. You look at these chicks and you wonder, like, why do you always have to wear tight pants? Like, I see even Polish girls around here wearing denim jean shorts up their butt with a little bit of their butt cheek hanging out. And I'm just like, why do you feel the need to have your butt cheeks hanging out? Is there a little bit of evil and wickedness that if you don't control them, then they're going to do things like this. They're going to make themselves into sexual objects, turn around about and complain about being sexualized, and then they're going to try to tempt people and then slap cases on people and exercise control in the society. It's evil, and this is their nature unmanaged. You got to manage them. Now, me personally, I don't have a primary identity of being black. I'm clearly black. Clearly. Caught me. I'm still black. But my primary identity is as a saint. So I mess with this ism and the assassin. You heard me? And so if somebody identifies a part of that, they're a part of me. But like if I'm seeing a random black chick, nah, I ain't. You heard me? No, we ain't got no connection. Especially if she's dressed like a Cardi B, etc. Yes, indeed. Bro said Juneteenth is a fake holiday. Bro, all the holidays are fake, but yeah, it's weird. I agree. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. And the funny thing too is it's a newer one. I don't even know what it means though. I'm like, yo, like what does that even mean? Juneteenth. Like who thought of that name? Like why can't it's strange. My mom called me 2 hours ago. What was that about? Yeah, man. The funny thing to me is just how much people hate reality. Like that's trippy. I'm just like, damn, yo, like y'all really hate reality out here. Like the truth is not a factor to y'all. Y'all do not mess with the truth. The funny thing is that Krakow is such a small city. Oh man, it's like legitimately hot today. That's wild. Gotta wear shorts today, huh? Yeah, your boy is definitely wearing shorts. It's like legitimately hot out here. That's deep. 33% humidity as well. He writes, if they're ghetto and have something else in them, they ain't us. Cardi is Dominican. Dominican. Okay, I hear you. I hear you, Brody. Yeah, shout out to my female fans. You dig? Just updating this session so that you have to be a subscriber to comment. because we got too many mental people in here who love me though. That's the weird thing. I'm like, yo, y'all boys is mad weird, man. Like, there we go. Yeah, man, and that's one thing you guys gotta love is like if you're really a boss, just like in your heart, man, you gotta live like a boss and you just gotta appreciate everything that come with it. The problem is like in this age, you have a lot of people who might be put in the position of a boss, but they really not a boss. You see what I'm saying? They really not a boss. A king can handle all the things that come with being a king, but these rascals, they crack under pressure. Yeah, this chick that's about to pull up on me, super narcissist. And I mean, like honestly, like she's ranking like in terms of the narcissists that I've dealt with, which have been a lot. She definitely is ranking high. She like might be like number one. She might be number one. And I was about to do a player story, or not a player story, a horror story on her, but because I thought we were done. You heard me? I said like the most foul stuff in the world to her, and I expected her to like, you know, be gone. But she came right back. They always do. You see, and that's the funny thing is like when you're really of value, you ain't got to break your neck to get respect. You dig? Nah, you ain't got to break your neck. You know, if they not treating you according to who you know you are, slide them to the side, man. And it's not an L. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Let them go. And half the time, if they have two brain cells to rub together, they're gonna realize like, oh, like he's hard to replace. I could be on Tinder for years. Yeah, he's hard to replace. I didn't meet Shorty on Tinder. But these broads out here, man, like the world is so delusional. And check out the Book of Dark Truths. The world is so delusional that Tinder convinces fat, ugly girls that they're attractive because they get all these matches, right? And they think that the guy wants them. The guy just wants intercourse and he doesn't have any decency. Okay, there's that. Then you got women who are older in age and they're not really appealing, and guys don't want to stay with them. They just want to play with them. But the girl's getting all these matches. She thinks she has all the time in the world. Then you also have women who are older in age and they're talking about like they want to have kids and all this other stuff. Like there's a young lady recently, 29. I thought she was 25. I'm not gonna lie. For a white woman, I was like, yo, like you look mad young. Like I don't know how you did this. You look like very well preserved. So I thought she was like 25, 26. She told me she was 29. I was like, you tricked me. But I could see her age come out in her mentality. And honestly, if a woman is 25 or older and attractive, she's a nut. If she's 25 and older and attractive and single, she's a nut. She is a nut. N-U-T, my boy. She's an N-U-T, man. And Shorty is over here like talking about she wants to have kids, and I'm like, okay, so you're 29. It's gonna take like a year and a half to get to know a guy to where you can get engaged. You probably want to stay engaged for a year. Now we're at 2.5 years. You get married. You should be in married life for at least a year before you have kids so you can see what that's like. So now we're at 3.5 years. You're 33 years old pretty much. Now you're going to get pregnant. You're going to have the kid when you're like 34. That is very bad biologically. In fact, in your late 20s, that's when the instances of Down syndrome, autism, all these bad genetic issues are going to increase because of the mother's age. You're engaging in a geriatric pregnancy. So it's like, yo, like you're wilding, shorty. Like you need to really be trying to deal with bosses and you need to be in full submission. Like you need to change everything because you've been messing up. If you're attractive, you're over age 25 and you're single, you're not well mentally, your mindset is bad. Something you've been doing is very wrong. It's very wrong. And I ain't the one to fix it. You hear me? I ain't dealing with fixer uppers. If I buy a house, I'm buying a house I can move into. I'm not buying a house I'm gonna have to invest a bunch of money and time into. You hear me? Nah, I'm top of the food chain. I ain't about to be caught out there like a sucker. Now, in terms of, I ain't gonna get into it. I ain't getting into it. But no, I'm not taking care of a chick and and being there as a spouse and a father unless she top of the food chain. You hear me? She's the right everything. I'm not about to be caught out there like a sucker. I'm not about to be caught out there like a sucker. Believe that. And people, man, they hate the truth. So I want you guys all to feel strong enough to stick with the truth of things. You hear me? Deal with the truth of the matter. Man, that 29-year-old chick, if I was to tell her like, "Hey, shorty, like you realize that you're like way outside of like the ideal range of birthing children, like you realize like you're old." First thing she's gonna say is, "Marquette, you're older than me." Not really though. Not really though. Cuz chicks who are, listen, this is true story. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, they're still hollering at me. You hear me? We're not the same age. We're not this man years and woman years are not the same. Shorty, like I got range still. You don't have range. Once you tell a guy that you're 29, cats is like, oh yeah, yeah, no, this is recreational. This is this is that's all this is. That's it. You tell a cat you 29, cats is like, beep. I tell a chick my age, she's like, oh, I'm surprised. And then we carry on. That's it. That's it. I tell a chick my age, she's like, oh, I didn't know. Like, oh, you're so much older than me. I'm like, yeah, for sure. She's like, oh, okay. Where do you want to go to dinner? Carry on. They don't care. Guys care. Like, we for sure care, shorty. So, like, you got to behave yourself out here, man. Yeah, you got to behave yourself. Like for all of my women that are age 25 and older, I encourage you come to a good man in full submission. Whatever he wants, whatever he needs, deliver it unto him. You are behind, and he don't really want you, so you need to like do something to make it up. Yeah, the slackers, the dudes who are low performers, they'll deal with you. But the dudes that's like got options, the 29-year-old chick, she trying to play games. Man, I must have looked her up and down like, word, shorty, word, you're crazy. Like, girl, you so crazy. That was yesterday, right? That was yesterday. That's a Ukrainian one yesterday. Today, Polish one on her way right now. Like, come on, man. Like, what we doing here? Use a dumb broad. Like, I gave you a sincere chance. You blew that, and I'm back on the horse the next pause. Pause, pause, pause. Yeah, I'm back at it the next day with somebody who's younger and more attractive. Like, you're an idiot. You messed that up. That's what you guys don't understand. These females is like, shorty, you need to capitalize when you get that chance. Like, you can't be over here like, I have standards. You got to hold the door open for me. Like, no, open the door yourself. Forget those standards. Try to get you a man. Try to get locked in. The time is ticking. Like, nah, it's fourth quarter. You down by 8 points. It's fourth quarter. You down by 8 points. Jordan's injured. You got to get past the ball to Scottie Pippen. He got to get this done. He got good skills, but he ain't a game winner. But you pulling for him. That's the situation you in. That's all there is to that. Shout out to Kareem Blow supporting the word. Good to see you. And for you guys, let me game up you young gentlemen. For y'all who are like, look, Quet, I don't need 4 chicks. I'm not a Mormon. You heard me? I don't need 4 chicks. I ain't a Muslim. I just need me one good one. Great, my boy. So dig this. This is my recommendation to you, Brody. Get you a female, like while you're in your early years, because we cannot anticipate that you're about to grow in value. And a man grows in value through his position in his community, through his physicality, through his wealth, through his status, through his sophistication. We don't want to presume you're going to grow in all those capitals. So while you're 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, get one of your peers and lock her down. Now, ideally, you don't want her to be your peer. You want her to be younger than you. That is the way that it has been ordained. That is the most appropriate. You want a woman who is younger than you. But get you a chick, lock her down, Brody. Drop a seed in her while she's young. That's the right time. I don't care what the society is telling you. You got a decent job and everything. You live in a country with a welfare state such as America. Go ahead, drop a seed in her, man, and carry on from there. But a good girl, right? Like a good girl, not one of these scallywags. A good girl is going to defer to you. She's going to respect you. She's going to listen to you. She's going to regard you well. She does not have wandering eyes. If you ever with a broad that when you talking to the broad, she's not looking into your eyes. She's looking at other stuff, bro, she's not the one. Now, when a broad's talking to me, I might be looking at other stuff, but I'm the security. You hear me? I'm your bodyguard, shorty. I'm your bodyguard. I'm my security. I'm looking at everything. You dig? It don't matter what I look at, and I might even be looking at a broad. You dig? But I can have a couple of them things. You need to worry about, am I going to hold on to you? And I can do that. Okay. You can't hold on to two dudes at once. I can hold on to two women at once and perform at a great level for both of them with excellence. You hear me? You ain't even got energy like me. You hear me? Like you go to sleep and sleep 8-9 hours. By the time you done went to sleep, I done woke up, did things, and nah, like we ain't the same. Okay. But if you got a broad, she looking around, oh, that's not the one. You ever catch a broad looking at a dude? Oh, that's really not the one. You hear me? My Lord. Them reckless eyeballers. They're dangerous. Listen to me, man. I had two chicks that I saw reckless eyeballing. And me, I don't ever let my eyes deceive me. They'll deny it too. So I don't even waste time calling them out. I just boom, mark them off. So for example, and I told one of them in a player story, so I'm not going to repeat it. Um, in fact, I think I told both of them in a player story, so I'm not going to repeat either of them. But yeah, Brody, like them wandering eyes, it lets you know everything you need to know about a female, man. Everything you need to know. And trust yourself because they're liars. Check this out. I had a chick. We sat down on a bench, and Shorty sit way over here. I'm over here like, what are we doing here? Then we were talking later on that night, and she was like, "Why do you keep laughing at me?" I was like, "Because you're a funny character." I was like, two things. I was like, one, I'd asked you this, and you looked at me crazy. I thought it was hilarious. And the second thing, we sat down on the bench, and you sit down like way over on the opposite side. And she was like, "No, I didn't. Don't invent things. I sat down as close to you as possible." And I was like, "So my own eyes deceive me." If you were to leave it to a woman, she will tell you that your eyes deceive you. If you tell her like, "Hey, you was reckless eyeball. I saw you looking at bro over there. I saw you just looking around, scanning the environment." She's like, "No, I wasn't. I was looking straight at you." Bro, like, don't even waste time. You hear me? I don't argue in general. I damn sure ain't gonna argue with a broad. You dig? I'm not gonna ever let anybody tell me that my eyes deceive me, and I'm not gonna be misled by a wicked broad. No, sir, Bob, and they will mislead you. Come on now. Yes, indeed. And shout out to the real ones supporting the work. May also acknowledge via PayPal. Shout out to Quad. He writes, "Peace to Saints. You got to rewrite that rule for major cities, saying I think the average age should be 23 or older, maybe even 22." Bro, it get like that. And listen to me. And this it's been ugly for a while, Quad. Because check this out, Brody. This is a true story. I was living in San Francisco, right? Because you know the dream of every kid who goes to University of California, Berkeley, you get out of college and you move to San Francisco, right? So I was living in San Francisco. You have a garage. Nah, I don't have a garage at this spot. You're gonna have to find a parking space. Let me know when you get one. I was living in San Francisco, right? And where did I crack? Oh, this was crazy. Listen, this was crazy. I've mentioned this before, but long story short, this is when Tinder first came out. And Tinder was way different when it first came out. You wouldn't even believe it if I told you. But long story short, Tinder at first came out. This was an early release. And I remember I was in like a mini mansion with the homies that I went to college with in my fraternity. And one of the homies was like, "Hey man, I just downloaded this app. It's called Tinder. It's very addictive. And I want you to get on it." There's a white boy shit right here. Like, "I want you to get on it because I want to see how a black guy does on this app." He's like, "Because I'm getting like, he's like, every time I swipe, I get a match." He's like, "I get a match almost every time. So I want to see if like what a black guy does on this app." I'm like, "All right, bro." I download the app. I'm like, "Okay, this is interesting." And I swipe, boom, match. And it'll tell you who your common friends are. Back in the day, Tinder would tell you who you have in common on Facebook, like your common Facebook friends. And because it was an early release and it was released to like our friend group, our network, because we were elite students at Berkeley, guys in software, guys high up in consulting firms, like we got the early release. So it was actually our friend group, right?
So I'm swiping. I was like, oh, I didn't know Molly was like, nigga, I went to college with Molly and I knew she was feeling me. She should have let me know. I could have been beating this down for years. Dumb bitch. So we swiping, they dying laughing. We recognize like half the chicks is mutual friends. That's who they'll serve you on Tinder at this time. And then I swiped this little brunette and I'm swiping through her picture like, dang, she kind of thick. I was like, let me message this one real quick. Pause our little game here. I messaged Shorty and she was like, hey, I'm at a party right now. Pull up. And I'm thinking this is fake because this, like, we've never seen an app like this in life. It was like the first concept of this kind. And I'm talking, and the homies is like, she said, pull up. She had a party right now. I was like, yeah, we think it's fake. So we go pile into the homie Subaru, right? This is a white guy car, right? This motherfucker drive a Subaru. We all pile into the Subaru. This is how much we thought it was fake. Because Shorty said, hey, come meet me at this party. Like, I'll go with you. All of us pile into the Subaru. We drive over to the address she sent. We're expecting it to be like a kidnapping scenario or just something weird or just a scam or fake. We pull up to the spot. It's like a little mansion in Pacific Heights. We can hear the music thumping outside. We still think it's fake. I tell her, yo, I'm outside. Come outside. Then like 5 minutes later, we see a pretty little brunette come outside, turbo thick. And I'm looking at the homies and I was like, yo, this is real. This app is crazy. I hop out the whip, go over there, holler at her. She was like, are those your friends? Like, she's like, you came with all your friends? I was like, nah, I thought you was gonna kidnap me and do some crazy. Like, it's yo, look, hey, y'all, go. I'll take an Uber. This is when Uber first came out. And Uber was all black cars in San Francisco. Like, you could not get like a regular Uber. It was all black car. Oh, Shorty's here. Hey, I'm gonna come outside and come get you right now. I sent you the address. Are you inside? You got inside my building? You're sneaky. All right, I'm gonna come outside. It's number 6. All right, bye. Man, they have too much trust in this society. You heard me? They be trusting each other. Like my security door ain't even worked. Oh, I see her. They didn't let Shorty like all up in my building. That's crazy. She's like really like walking all through the boys' building right now. That's insane, man. Like how they really be doing that? I'm really thugging right now. Give me a second. Super wildin'. Where was I? Oh yeah. So why am I telling this Tinder story right now? Give me a sec. Let me just grab Shorty so I can get this workout in. And I'm gonna answer these last questions, and then we outro. Hey, I'm gonna go exercise real quick, and then we can go do what you want to do. Let me finish this live session real quick. Don't look around. It's messy in here. Don't look around at all. Just stop looking around. Just sit right there.
This?
Nah, just sit right there.
I thought it's from the sound.
Oh, let me get this from around you. You're tripping.
BTC.
Were you massaging people today?
I'm going to massage.
Oh, you got the massage?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. All right, let me answer these questions real quick. All right. Herb writes, I feel like I could get a lot more done if I didn't need 8 hours of sleep. Bro, if you need 8 hours of sleep, you got to sleep 8 hours. That's all there is to it. He writes, are there any tips or tricks on being able to make it through a day feeling alert with minimal sleep? Hell nah. Either that's you or that's not you. Yo, are you really going into my bedroom? Are you really just... You're tripping. Oh, you going to sleep?
No.
Oh, okay. Shorty like really be European out here. Got them outside clothes on in my bed. You're tripping. If you need sleep, you need to just go to sleep and get your sleep, and you're gonna be the most alert. A workout in the morning is the best way. Also, cars help a lot. That's gonna make you alert. Shout out to Nicaragua. He writes lit story, bro. It was crazy like this. I'm gonna check real quick, see if anybody sent anything on PayPal or Venmo, and then I'm outro. I gotta get this workout in. I gotta go do some touring. Check out this castle. Shout out to Emmanuel. He writes, peace of the saints, appreciate you. Man, I also acknowledge Irvin writes, peace of saints. Shout out to the real ones. I'm just gonna exercise for 30 minutes. You gonna come hang out while I do it, or you gonna sleep?
Exercise for 40 minutes.
30 minutes, yeah, I'm gonna jump rope.
40 minutes jump rope.
30 minutes. Yeah, come hang out. Okay. All right, gentlemen. Until next time, peace to the saints.